right, good afternoon and welcome back to the Little French Homestead. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. Today we are going to be doing a cracked chicken penne dinner. This is going to be for me and my family for this evening, but I also want to show it to those of you that are maybe new at cooking, so you could learn to see how easy really something is if you follow the directions step by step. So I did a few things already. I've got to cook the bacon for this meal. It does not show it here on the directions. They're assuming that you already have some bacon cut up. So I'm going to go ahead and put some bacon on my cookie sheet. I've already got a parchment paper down. My oven is set for 375. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in here. But then as I'm going through this, I'm going to just do a little bit more of an explanation of some of the processes that I do. You want to get what's called your mise en place all ready. Now this bacon's got to get diced and all cut up. So I'm not too worried on how this shows, because what I'm going to probably do is whatever bacon we do not use for this particular recipe, I'm just going to go ahead and set aside for something else. So normally if you were cooking bacon for like individual strips, you'd want to separate this a little bit more. But like I said, this is all getting all diced up and cut. So I'm going to go ahead and just do it like this. Now you certainly do not need to have gloves. I just put gloves on for a little bit more ease, and that way I don't have to keep washing my hands if I don't have to. I'm going to go ahead and place that in the hot oven. That should take about 10 to 15 minutes. What I've got going on the stove already is my pot for the penne. For those of you who are still learning how to cook or still new, you want to make sure that you cook your pasta in salted water. Now some cooks will tell you that it should taste like the sea, how very salty it is. But as long as you put in at least a really good handful, you do want to wait till your water is boiling before you add any pasta to it. I help it along a little bit by going ahead and when I fill up my water on the stove and in the sink, I make sure that it's already on super hot. So then that way it doesn't take as long to come up when it does. Now you're going to empty out the box. This does say for an 8 ounce, but I'm making a little extra as my husband this evening is going to work. Today is Sunday, maybe not the day you're watching it, but the day that I am making it, it is on a Sunday. That messed up a little bit. I got really dark. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and allow this to come up to boil. As we get out the pan, which I have right here. And you also, like I said, you wanna get all of your ingredients ready. So I have all my ingredients laid out. Let me go ahead and quickly show you that I do this. And also too, for just a quick little reference, this is so simple. I actually figured this out on my own. Go into Walmart and pick up, they have these plastic picture frames. This is how I hold my lists. Okay, so this is what it's going to be right here. And it gives you all the ingredients. And then if it's more than a couple pages, dry one off. Then I go ahead and flip them over. And I make sure that they don't coincide on the same area. That way, when I want to take this off, I can just take this off and I don't have to have it on there. This is a very simple and easy way to go ahead and keep your recipe right here and free. I did at times put it in through here. However, it didn't give me the full length if there was a lot of writing on the bottom. So I simply do that and I leave it out. There are times where I may hang it right here. I know some people tape it up, or they even have like the actual cookbook or something. But I just use that. It's simple. It costs like $2 over at Walmart. The only thing you use a lot of is tape if you use it. All right, so let me go ahead and get this started over here. Let me go ahead and read the directions a little bit more thoroughly. So when you do start cooking, you do actually want to read the ingredients in your recipe pretty thoroughly all the way through. So it does say here, you want to cook the pasta. You want to read the directions to the back of the pasta because sometimes they like it al dente, which means that you didn't cook it thoroughly all the way through. It's got just a tad bit of a crunch, especially if you're baking it or adding it into something else. You don't want overcooked pasta. So the next one is going to be in a large skillet. You want to combine your cream cheese, your ranch, and your broth over medium heat, and you want to stir it until it's heated all the way through. So I'm going to bring you a little bit closer. All right, so I've got the cream cheese here. Now my cream cheese was in the freezer till a little while ago. I didn't get a chance to thoroughly thaw it out, but you can go ahead and stick it in the microwave for a couple of minutes. It's not gonna hurt it. It's just gonna look a little extra crumbly like this. I just need to go ahead and give my pasta a little bit of a stir. There we go. Now usually al dente is anywhere between 8 to 10 minutes. So we just want to keep that going. Now we're going to do a ranch package. And it said 1 whole one, so we're just dumping all of that in. Now because I am all out of chicken broth and I do not have any, I do love this company. I am not sponsored by them by any means, but better than bouillon. This is very, very good. You're just going to take out 1 good sized spoonful. It asks for a cup, so you do want to go ahead and blend it pretty thoroughly in your water. Now I usually do like hot water. That does help emulsify it a little bit better. And then I'm just going to pour this all in there. Now that is okay that a little bit it didn't get in. We're just going to take that just like this. Now we're going to smooth this all in together. Now sometimes it does say on the direction about how long, but this one doesn't really say. But this smells super delicious already. And you also too, you can use shredded chicken. So then that way you don't have to worry about whole chicken, you know, like dicing it all up or anything like that. Usually what I do is if I have any whole chickens, especially if I need to make broth, I will go ahead and put the whole chickens. I'll just do like the entire chicken all right in there in my stock pot, cook it all, and then I'll peel all of that chicken off and I'll save it and put it in Ziploc bags, usually in about 2 cups or roughly about a pound and a half. I can get out of 2 chickens anywhere between 4 to 6 bags, depending on how much I overstuff. And then you have chicken for easy night meals like this, all ready to go. All right, so they just said keep stirring until smooth and heated through. We're gonna go ahead and what you can do, so if you see somehow you got some kind of bigger chunks of cream cheese, you can just push it right up against the wall of your pan. That helps break it all up. Okay, and you can smush it down like this. You know, one of my daughter's friends, I think I said in a couple of videos ago, she had made the first time tiramisu. Unfortunately, we didn't get any. She accidentally dropped it, which is not a big deal. We told her just next time you make that, that would be great if you want to give us just a little piece. And she was wanting to know, you know, like, how do you cook and like, what do you do? So I am kind of got inspired to do something like this, to do a little bit more of a hands-on video. Because I do normally do my videos, as you see, I'm cooking all the way through, but sometimes you just want to go ahead and break it down a little bit more easier. Oops. And, you know, this is a working kitchen, so you're going to have splashback. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and heat this. I'm going to turn this up just a tad. Now, even though I always start my kitchen cooking in a clean kitchen, you always wanted to make sure that your dishwasher is empty, your trash is empty. That way, if you need to go ahead and add items in there as you're going, that everything is all picked up and cleaned as you go. All right, I had to give the bacon a quick little check. This is a smoked bacon and I can really smell it, so I just really want to make sure that everything was still good. You see my water coming down to a really great boil. Now, for those of you who still may not know what al dente is, you can actually take one of these little pieces of pasta. What I usually do is I'm going to give it a try. I'll run it over just a little bit of cold water. I'll take a little bite. If it's still very crunchy, it's not ready yet. But if it's at that line where it's a bit crunchy but not too much, that's al dente and that's perfect. Now I am going to go ahead and give this a quick little taste. You do want to go ahead and taste as you go. You want to make sure that your seasonings are on point, because you really don't want to, especially if you were to like serve this, you know, as you got better and you're going to serve this, you don't want to serve this and have people have to add salt and pepper on it. All your seasonings should be on point, so when you serve them, it should just be as is of what you want it to be, and then they eat that way. That is good, but I do want to add a little bit more salt and pepper to it. Now, obviously, as you get going, when you're learning how to cook, my suggestion is as you're getting ready to cook, follow the ingredients. So if it tells you just to add, you know, like a half a tablespoon of salt and a quarter tablespoon of pepper, do that at first, okay? Because sometimes the recipes are right on point. Of course, then there's other times where it is not. Some people do like it a little bit more spicy with the pepper, or they may add other seasonings to flavor it all up. But for right now, you would want to go ahead, as you're cooking, know your recipe first, okay? Have it a few times, then you can play around with it, okay? Then you can add, oh, excuse me, I got the hiccups. then you can add your garlic. You can add cayenne pepper. You can add, maybe you want to add garlic to this, you know. So I would go ahead and play around with it a little bit. All right. Not quite yet, but getting there on that. So what you can do as you're getting ready to, we can turn this down just a tad. I know I did already. I am going to go ahead and maybe give this a little taste. So I'm going to run this under water and I'll come back in a second. All right. So let me go ahead and give it a taste. Actually, that is perfect right there. So let's go ahead and give this a drain. Let me get my mitts. Now you do always want to hold this away from your face. You can see all that steam coming up, and you really want to make sure that you do not get any of that steam back into your face, okay? That is not the way you want a facial. So we're gonna let that sit right there. We're gonna finish working on this. Wow, look how delicious that bacon looks. I'm gonna set it right over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple of pieces off. We're gonna go ahead and just lay them right here on this cutting board that I got. And we'll do 2 more. Now, as a beginner, you do not want to go ahead and throw away that bacon grease, okay? You want to go ahead and keep that. That adds all sorts of flavor. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and just give this bacon a nice rough chop. Now obviously this is very hot, so I do not want to use my fingers at touching this. And we are just going to add now the bacon right back into the pan. And then we're going to add that pasta. Okay. Now the pasta has been fully drained. Now I'm not going to add all of this pasta because remember, it only asked for 8 ounces. So I want to make sure that I have enough mixture for all this. Because we can always throw something else on the pasta if needed. I'm going to mix this all the way thoroughly in. Now, I'm not doing this, but you could certainly, if you want to make this a one-pot meal, I would add some fresh frozen peas right about now. You could add corn. You could add broccoli. I have to tell you, when I had the video turned off for that few moments, while I was still waiting on the bacon, my husband came around the corner and asked if I was filming. I was like, no, not yet, why? And he's like, boy, he goes, what do you got cooking? And I was like, well, it's the bacon. I said, it's that really wonderful applewood smoked bacon. And he's like, wow, that's really amazing. So yeah, it is. So the house smells super good right now. So we're gonna add in some Monterey Jack and some cheddar cheese. Now, if you don't have Monterey Jack or cheddar, you certainly do not have to add this. You can add whatever cheese you have in hand. Let me just rinse off this real quick. That's why I'm kind of glad that I have my sink not too far, so I can go ahead and just do that. And I do have these other 2 little bags of cheese. We're gonna go ahead and add this in. I don't like having open stuff for too long. This is Monterey Jack, and this is Colby. There's not much of either one left. Now we're just gonna go ahead, mix this a little bit more thoroughly in. We want to allow this to melt, get all ooey gooey. Now you can certainly turn this in to a little bit more of a casserole style too if you wanted to. You could probably throw this in the oven, maybe put some breadcrumbs on top of that with a little bit of melted butter and the breadcrumbs mixed together. That would certainly be delicious on this. But we're not going to do it like that today. All right. So this is how it is. I just wanted to clean up that mess. I didn't want it to stick to the bottom. I'm going to shut off my oven, shut off my stove. I'm going to go over here and grab a plate. That way you see how everything all came together. Now it is only almost 4 o'clock, so we're certainly not ready to eat quite yet. But oh, my husband just said I am. And then you can go ahead and sprinkle some green onions on that. Look at that. That looks delicious. I am going to go ahead and give this a quick little try. I want to make sure I get a little bit of everything. That bacon, those cheeses. My daughter did my hair today, so it looks super pretty, but it keeps getting in my face. That's why I normally wear my my bandanas to keep all my hair back and stuff. But today she's like, Mom, can I do your hair? So I said sure, and I says I'll leave it down so you know we can keep an eye on it and make it myself look pretty today. But yeah, that's why I normally keep my hair back, because it all gets in my face. Wow. That really is divine. Especially that apple with bacon. You know what would be good too is probably getting some of that bacon, crinkling it on top, and having it mixed in and together. Wow. This is super delicious. You know, if this was going to be your first meal to cook, actually not knowing how to cook, or attempting to still perfect a little bit more, that would be something that I would make for people. That is super, super delicious and very easy. It really was very easy. Now, normally recipes will tell you whether they're easy, medium, or difficult. New beginners, you definitely want to stay away from difficult. As you get progressing, you know, go ahead, get your mediums. That's perfect. But even I still go and get a lot of the ones that say easy, because, you know, right now, you know, Mom, I got 3 kids here at the house. I got a husband who has to go to work 4 days a week. You know, jobs, everything going on. You want to make sure that you get easy things, easy meals going. But I just want to say this was actually super fun. I enjoyed this. But if you like this video and you want to see more, go ahead and click share, but most importantly, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for, again, allowing me into your home. And go ahead and I'll pop up some videos up here and there for you in between my other uploads. And I just want to say thank you again for coming and watching me today, and keep on cooking. Bye.